Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried & Jensen. As proud sponsors of BeliefCast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
And we are back. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, thanks for believing in me and all the support. It means the world to me. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Siegfried & Jensen, Wasatch Recovery, Thread Wallets, and the beautiful music you're hearing before and after these episodes is by my good friend Paul Cardall. He's an award-winning pianist and just an amazing human being. So thank you, Paul, for allowing me to use your amazing music. And today we're joined by Linda Sorensen. Linda, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And for those who probably don't know, I've had your beautiful daughter Savvy on and her husband Kaz, and
yes,
just two great people.
They
right?
are such an amazing couple.
Are they really? They're like
they
a power
are.
couple if there ever was one, right?
They're so fun. And Savvy is my oldest.
Yeah.
She is just an absolute angel.
Yeah.
Like we grew up together. I always tease and say that she kind of raised me because she's my oldest, but yeah, she's a good one.
Yeah, she's a good one, man, and I can't wait. She told me a long time ago, you got to get my mom on. She's got an amazing story, and she's been through some things. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to have her on. So, a little background. I won't go into all the details, but obviously you're a wife, you're a mom, you're a Jesus follower, you're an adoptee, you're a pianist as well, vocalist, lake pal enthusiast, dog mom, gardener, chicken farmer. Wow,
this is a new thing for me. It's not something I would have ever anticipated. I grew up in, the Salt Lake Valley area, and my husband's a small town farm boy. Yeah. And so we live in a small town in central Utah and have property. And the last couple years, that's something I've added to my resume. Yeah. This crazy chicken thing.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are starting to do that now, I guess. Yeah. So that's the thing. I have to look into that. But, well, why don't we just start, let's start where you grew up and a little bit about your family.
Sure. I grew up in the Salt Lake Valley, like I said. I was adopted at birth. I also have a brother that's adopted. That was adopted also. He's older than I am. Okay. And I grew up a busy, involved child with, I was always busy with a lot of different activities, learning a lot of different things, but I also kind of grew up in a more difficult family dynamic situation. And through growing up, I think I kind of struggled a lot with just self-worth and feelings of inadequacy or just kind of really with dealing with a lot of feelings I did not understand. Right. Like I really didn't understand a lot of the times why I was feeling the way I was feeling or why I felt. I went through some hard depression times. That was mostly after I was married and more as an adult. But I found myself struggling as a younger teen with those feelings and not understanding where they came from, not being able to put my finger on where they came from or why I felt inadequate or unworthy or all of those feelings. And when I kind of got a little bit further into high school, my family situation kind of imploded. And I ended up in kind of a foster care situation in high school for a couple of years. Okay. And it was actually, it was really a positive experience for me to kind of just be able to really work through my feelings a little bit more and acknowledge some feelings that I was having and some struggles that I was having and really work through those things. And I was really lucky because I was still able to kind of resume my normal. I wasn't displaced in school and things like that. So I was kind of still able to do those things. But as I grew, after I, grew, I kind of had a faith crisis a little bit, struggled with that, and kind of really found myself in kind of a lost situation.
Yeah. So you were raised, by your adopted parents as believing in God and things like that.
Right. I was raised in a faithful home, but I also, there was also a lot of like things, kind of struggles behind the scenes that probably were, most of us have those struggles behind the scenes, right?
Yes, we do.
But I feel like as I kind of tried to process and work out why I was struggling and why I felt the way I did and why I was always feeling inadequate and always feeling those feelings, I realized that a lot of that had to do with my feelings, just accepting and acknowledging my feelings about being an adopted child.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people understand that really.
Yeah.
I don't think, we think it's the fix to the problem, right? We're going to we're going to adopt this child and everything's going to be fine. It's great now. All the problems are fixed.
Yeah.
But there is still an element there of things to work through and struggles and acceptance. And I think we're doing better.
How old were you when you found out that you were adopted?
So I always kind of knew.
Oh, did you? Okay.
But it really wasn't something that we were really supposed to really talk about.
Okay.
It was something I always knew.
Yeah.
I never remember like a day that I kind of was told.
I got you.
But I also knew that it really was not a good thing that I should talk about. And that led to kind of feeling like, well, why is this not okay?
Yeah,
like,
why can't we talk about it?
Yeah, like what's wrong that we can't discuss this, or and then it kind of, there was also a lot of things like where I'm a really different, I have a really different personality style from my family members. And that was sometimes very confusing. Like we were all of us, including my adopted brother, very, very different.
Yeah.
And so that led to like, why are we so different? And why don't, why can't we, see things the same or work together better or things like that. And so I think as I grew up, it led to just really kind of, there was a lot of like self-sabotage decisions that were really not healthy for, a long time until I really started to examine why, like what was the why behind why did I feel inadequate? Why did I feel unworthy? And I think as I started to realize, kind of what was behind that and work through that, it did change everything in my life. First off, to number one, realize like that, I really was okay to take up space and was okay to be who I was and be myself. And a lot of those things I think weren't okay as a kid. So, and weren't acknowledged. And so I felt like as I grew up and worked through the feelings of adoption and the struggles I had with that.
Was that something you kind of just worked through on your own, or did you have help?
No, I did. I had help. I started to go to therapy, started to understand things better.
Yeah.
Started to do my own study, joined some support groups and things like that. That really helped me to realize like, this is normal. Like you're not alone. And that was really like validating to feel like, this is something that you can work through and that, there are people that understand. And so that was really good for me to really be able to finally like really talk about that talk about how that felt for me. As a young adult, I also had the opportunity to, I got a phone call one day from someone who was, kind of a coordinator between families, birth families, and their children. Okay. So that was an opportunity I had at a pretty young age.
Really?
And it was really, that was very eye-opening. That whole experience was very eye-opening and answered a lot of questions, but also... So
they coordinated you to be able to talk to your birth parents? To connect.
Yeah, to connect with my biological family.
When that first had that opportunity, were you like going, okay, do I want to do this? Should I? Or were you wrestling with that at all?
I immediately wanted that to have that interaction and wanted to have those questions answered.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think in some ways, for a person who is kind of struggling with their self-worth and their sense of belonging in the world, I think it may have even accentuated more that I didn't really belong here, and I don't know if I really belong 100% here either.
Yeah.
It was kind of a weird walking between worlds and situations and not really 100% fitting either place.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And like, in my, rational brain, knowing like why I felt that way, but still feeling somewhat that struggle inside, knowing that I didn't really fit in both worlds. And so, I mean, it was good. It was healing in some ways to know, and to also know that like I was thought of.
Yeah.
I was important
Sure.
to those people. And so that was it was healing in a lot of ways, but also it did bring up different emotions and
I can
different
imagine.
feelings. Yeah.
Well, you talk about you were struggling with your self-worth, and that's common for all of us. We all go through this on some level, but I think a lot of times people who have been adopted, that plays maybe even adds a little bit more to it. Do you feel like that was a part of why you felt maybe somewhat less than as you were younger?
I absolutely feel that way. I think that no matter how much we know the reasons why people choose adoption, as an adopted child, it's really hard not to feel like there might have been something wrong with you, or that you were not loved enough, which we know isn't the case. But it's still something that I think a lot of adoptees feel without understanding that they feel it.
Yeah.
And, as I kind of worked through a lot of those feelings, I did a lot of looking through adoption material and reading and studying and working with a therapist that was a specialist in adoption and those issues. And I learned that that's something that is very normal to feel, and that's something that most adoptees go through at some point in their life. Yeah. They have those feelings and those struggles. And so for me, I think it was really a real journey of just accepting, what is, and not allowing, expectations to sabotage what the blessings I do have, and the family I do have, and the relationships I do have. And so, there has been a lot of healing, and I think I still sometimes have reactions and responses where I have to sit back and go, that was pretty intense to be like, really reacting to some sort of perceived rejection in such a an intense way. And so I'm still working through that, even, as I, I'm now an empty nester, and I have raised my own 3 children, but I do think that it's something that, I wish we had a little bit more awareness of in general, that this is something that, it would be so great if we had that kind of we knew going in that there was going to be these feelings and these emotions. For sure.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I mean, I think we do better now.
Yeah.
I think adoptions are evolving, and back in the day when I was adopted, it was just very, you didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, you didn't talk about it.
And there was zero information given. Yeah. And so I think we're moving in a good direction to knowing that your story is yours to own, and that adoptees have, they're really the only person in the beginning that don't have a voice, but now we're learning how to allow them to have their story still.
I have a lot of my clients who have been adopted who struggle with that on some level, and one of the things I help them work through that, I'm not good enough feeling or belief is that instead of maybe saying you're adopted, what if you started saying you're selected?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that resolves all the problems, because I know
Right.
they run deep with each person, but I've seen when people are like, you know what, man, I've never thought of it that way. And it's like, yeah, you were selected, man. That's pretty cool. If you look at it that way, and it
Right.
kind of changes their perception. What do you think of that?
I do feel like, I think the message is good to be like, oh, you were chosen, you were selected, you were really loved and wanted. And I think that that's great to some degree, but I think in some ways in the back of some of our heads, we think, but I wasn't selected by that first parent.
For sure.
And so I think that that's something that we kind of have to work through and struggle through a little bit.
Yeah.
I as I kind of have worked through that myself, I think I've found a lot of a sense of belonging in knowing that, I have there's a higher power. There's a creator that sees me, knows me, understands me. And that has been a place of belonging for me. Yeah. Where, I can't always fix all the other family dynamics and situations. Right. I can, feel safe, feel an emotional safety, feel a security in that relationship. Right. And that has been a game changer for me.
Well, so thanks for sharing that. Let's go back just a little bit. You mentioned, though, so you had to do some foster care when you were in high school. Mm-hmm. At that time, I mean, you mentioned, hey, you looked at it as, man, I grew from that, which is, I love that you see it that way.
Yeah, I did.
At the time, though, is this when you started, because you mentioned you kind of lost your faith for a minute?
I did.
Was that the beginning of that?
It kind of happened after high school.
Okay.
And it was just, there was, like I said, lots of second guessing and self-sabotage, making decisions that I didn't understand why I was making, and thinking, I was struggling in relationships, not just family relationships, but in like dating relationships. And I was just really struggling to like find a place of safety that I felt safe in. Yeah. And a place where I found myself pushing people away. Yeah. Or struggling to make those lasting connections. Yeah. And I think that's kind of when I started to struggle, not understanding why things had happened the way they had happened. Yeah. And just, pushing that away, because it was a very strong theme in my, growth and development and in my family. And sometimes I think it kind of might have been used a little bit as a weapon. Yeah. Okay. And then I in turn kind of pushed that away for a minute,
Which is understandable.
Right. Just kind of pushed it away and walked away for a little bit, and really wasn't helpful. Yeah. It really wasn't helpful.
No, I totally understand.
But, I have so much of a better understanding of now what that relationship, with a higher power or with your, with a savior will do for you.
What helped you kind of get back to that? Was it just gradually, you're starting to realize this is really important to me? And
I think it was being a mom.
Oh, okay.
I think it was wanting to provide something so much more of I just wanted to provide everything for my kids. I wanted them to always feel loved and safe, and that they had a purpose. And that's when I really started to kind of look into myself a little bit more and work through the feelings of inadequacy and why I felt the way I did. Gotcha. And why I made some of the decisions I did, and why would I react the way I did in certain situations. And I think a lot of those things I went through in those relationships were just, it was just trauma that I was working through and trying to go through. And now that, being on the other side of it and you know, really like the one thing that got me through is that sense of belonging, you know, that I pushed away so much. The one thing that got me through is knowing that I belonged and that I was heard and understood and listened to in my, you know, my faith journey. And then with my kids, you know, really allowing them to each have their own story and their own,
And I'm going to pause here.
Yeah.
Your kids are amazing.
Yeah.
Like they really are. And
They really
I just
are.
want to say, man, you've done a fantastic job of, I mean, you know, I'm speaking specifically right now of Savvy because I know her the best, obviously, out of all your kids. But just the confidence and just the goodness that they have and that they exude. I mean, do you ever just sit back and go, man, those are my kids?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I do. And sometimes I sit back and I wonder, like, how did they make it through? And how did we like muddle through and come out on the other side all okay and all achieving like our own happiness? And you know,
and they're hardworking. They're always trying to do something.
Yeah.
Were you like that when you were younger too?
I really was.
Okay.
I think that was one thing that I really was really different about me is that I wanted to achieve. I wanted to be involved. I really craved a connection, but didn't know how to make it in positive ways.
Yeah.
But I also just really found a lot of joy in people and in being able to be involved in all kinds of things. So with my kids going forward, even though, you know, I went through a lot of these struggles when Savvy was a young child. Yeah. And that's why I say sometimes I just wonder, and I tell her all the time, like, I'm so sorry you had to be the one who raised your mom, you know, because, and I think all of us parents feel that to some degree because we don't know what we're doing. And we're just figuring out as we go.
We're winging it as we go.
Right. There's not a manual, unfortunately. But with her especially, like we really did grow up together. And she taught me, she's such a remarkable human. Yeah. She taught me about connection and about just keeping, you know, working towards that and about forgiveness. Yeah. About just unconditionally loving and forgiving someone. Yeah. She really did teach me that in so many ways. She was the stability and the thing that catapulted me towards working through and like allowing that connection in my life. Yeah. And so for me to sit back now and see those kids and see, you know, the things that they are achieving and the happiness that they have chosen for their lives is just, it is. I feel grateful. I really do. Sure. I don't know exactly if I had anything to do with it, but I feel grateful to have them.
You definitely did. Absolutely you did. You know, and it also proves to me time and time again, hearing stories such as yourself, the resilience in people, the resilience in kids, that we can go through tough times and we can rise above it. And it really is for our better good. Right. We may not realize it as we're going through it.
Right. I hear you say all the time that life is happening for us, not to us. And that's hard. Yep. In the moment, it's hard.
So hard. Yeah.
In the moment, I think there were probably times where if you would have said that to me, I'd have been like, that is not at all what I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
That is not at all what I want to hear. Like that this is somehow going to be a good thing. But, you know, on the hindsight, you look back and I think you get to, you know, our age, I guess, and you start to see that you have, that what you have learned has been valuable in so many ways. I can't tell you how many situations I've just been amazed to be in. Yeah. That I can contribute to because of what I've gone through. Yeah. That I can understand in a different way, maybe. Yeah. With youth that I've worked with in all kinds of different capacities, and work capacities and church capacities, that I understand and see things in a different way because of my life experiences. Right. And that I also, it's so much of it is temporary when we think it's so final, and permanent. And, it is nice on the other side to go, oh yeah, like that. I really am so grateful for those experiences and that what I can use those towards good for those experiences,
Have you ever heard of the book, The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh?
I have not.
You need to read that book.
Okay.
Everyone listening to this, it's a children's book, actually. It is the most powerful book because it teaches us exactly why we go through what we go through and the reasons behind it.
Right.
Even some of the most horrific things. And so anyone listening to this right now, I challenge you to get that book, The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh. But
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, you will love it because you'll relate with it on so many levels. You'll be like, that's exactly it.
Right.
So anyway, going back to that. Yeah. And I know when I say that, life happens for you. People are like, you have no idea what I'm going through. Are you kidding me? And I know it's tough for some people to hear that when they're going through something horrific. Yeah. I'm not
when
trying
you're
to,
in the trenches.
And I don't say it to minimize anyone's pain or anything like that. And so, but like you said, you can start seeing it once you kind of move through it and you look back and go, wow.
Right.
And
and I think that's the important thing is that you do move through it. You keep pushing through it. You keep working. And that's, I think, with me personally, and all of the things, like I'm still working through those family relationships. I'm still working through my own feelings and my own reactions to things I'm still learning and understanding those things. But as we continue to just day by day, minute by minute, sometimes breath by breath, working through those feelings and knowing that on the other side that we can look back and say, there was good to this.
For sure.
Is, if we can accept that in the moment, that there will be good to it. Maybe it'll give us some hope to, keep making those efforts to move forward.
Yeah.
But I have felt like, I have been really lucky and blessed in a lot of ways. Especially with my kids, and my number one focus has been to provide a lot of the things that maybe I felt like I was lacking, and it's been so wonderful to watch my kids, and they're not perfect by any means. We're all struggling.
Sure,
they struggle. They have their own things that they're
we all
working
do.
through. But it's been gratifying to see that.
So, what's the best thing about being a mom?
Oh gosh.
And I know it's a loaded question.
Well, I don't know. I think sometimes being a mom, you can feel kind of invisible. I remember hearing something a while back about it was a story about someone talking about how a cathedral was made. And that a lot of people that worked on building a cathedral, nobody knows their name. Yeah. And nobody knows the years and sometimes hundreds of years it took to build a great cathedral. Yeah. And I can't even remember where I heard this story, but it was that God saw all of the efforts to building that. And then they related that to being a mom. And all of those little moments, all of those little things, all those struggles, all those sleepless nights, all of the teenage trials and the things we go through as a parent and the things, we're going through as we evolve as a parent too, like that he sees that we're the cathedral we're building and that's something that he values. Yeah. That, I mean, of course we value our children, but that contribution is so valuable to God too. Yeah. It's, and so seeing my kids and seeing them triumph and seeing them work through and seeing their goodness. Yeah. I mean, they're, I think if we struggle to give kids and like this new generation any credit. Yeah. And we want to talk about all the other negative things, but I look at them and I just think they're so remarkable. And to me, that's my favorite thing about being a mom is watching the good things that they do. And watching how they turn around and use, our struggles as a family to help others, and to be kind and compassionate. I mean, Savvy, all my kids are that way very much. Yeah. I have a boy in the middle of two girls. Yes. And boy, has he been on a roller coaster with his sisters.
Yeah, he's outnumbered.
But he's such a they're all so good. Yeah. And so kind and such like caring people. Yeah. And that has been great as a mom.
Yeah, I have 3 girls and a boy, and I would always tell them, "Hey, man, we're outnumbered here, so let's do our best." We'd always laugh about that, but it was still also a blessing as well. Just having that many sisters in his life, it was a really good thing.
He was a really great. He was the comic relief, and he was the one who'd in the big dramatic moments be like, "Guys, why are we doing this?" Like, yeah, right. he was always the one to just kind of always bring us down and be like, "Okay, guys, like, let's take a breath.
Let's breathe.
It's not a big deal. It's going to be okay. Like, this is not a big deal. We're good. Let's move on."
That's awesome.
So he was good that way. He was a great middle child to keep us all going.
So a question I have for you is, what are some of the things you do like in a day that keeps you kind of centered, keeps you close to, with your faith? And do you have a routine you try to follow, or what does it look like for you?
Well, I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I try to learn every day.
Okay.
But I also really am a believer in how we talk to ourselves and really like controlling those thoughts and those emotions that run away with us sometimes. Yeah. And learning how to, reinforce positively myself and how I talk to myself, and, just meditating and thinking through, what do I, if I have to tell myself what I want to become. I have to believe that. Yeah. I have to believe who I am, and I have to that's a continual process. So that's something that I do a lot every day, is find ways, whether it's, prayer, meditation, learning, growing, reading podcasts, giving my, reinforcing to myself, those mantras and those things that I want to become and what I believe about myself. If I tell myself that I can and that I'm worthy of, then I'm much more likely to be able to accomplish that in my day, day by day. Just winning each day, win the day,
win the day.
Don't worry so much about, all of the little things. Just win the day. Just keep going. Focus on today. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, your kids, as we mentioned, are involved in a lot of things. They're performers, and they're out there putting themselves out there and things like that. And
they're so brave.
They are. They're brave. They're amazing. Do you have anything like on the horizon for you? Like, are you like trying to do certain things in your life that you have plans or some goals with?
Yeah. So I'm working towards some life coaching, different things that I'm working towards with that. I also, my husband and I, we own a business together. Okay. So we're working on goals with our business. Yeah. I really have felt a pull to give back as far as maybe fostering children. So that's something, we're kind of looking at as well. Yeah. But yeah, my number one goal really is really to be that like super grandma, super mom, like be there for my kids. I really, one of my really good friends they have a ginormous family, and it looks very different from both my husband or my family situations. Yeah. And something I tell my kids all the time is that I really want to focus on the things that last the longest. And the things that last the longest are our relationship with our family, our kids. My husband and I, we're empty nesting. That's a focus now that we're learning how to like re-navigate that.
Totally, yeah.
And how I want going forward to keep my family together. And so a lot of the things I ask myself when I wake up every day is like, how can I support my kids? How can I strengthen our family? How can I help them? And so those are a lot of the goals I have, really centered around, really being and creating that family unit that is there for each other. The longest relationships we have in our life are the relationships we have with our siblings. Right. Not even with our parents. Yeah. It's between, those that we're born with and that we pretty much are going to live the longest with, hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully. And that's something I've told my kids, like really, really foster those relationships, be there for each other. And I'm trying to provide those opportunities to keep my family strong and keep my family together and help them navigate adulting and that's amazing. All of the different stages of that they're going to come soon. I'm sure. I'm not a grandma yet, but we'll hopefully get there. Yeah. Sad. Eventually Kaz? Yeah, no pressure. no pressure they're fine. All. They're really, living their dreams and that's good.
Yeah, that's good. They're doing great. No, beautifully said. Thank you for sharing that. I think what's interesting is what you've been through in your life. Again, talking about life happens for you and then feeling like you didn't belong and then how belonging means so much to you. And then when I ask you what means most to you, you're like, no, making sure these relationships and focusing on those. Yeah. Again, it goes back to what you'd been through, right? Yeah. I mean, it's so cool to see that.
Like, I know how important it is. Yeah. I know the things I struggled through because of the lack of some of those, strong relationships. And I, like if I can, we talk about, cycles and like, that's a cycle I want to break. Yeah. That's something I want to make to be different going forward. Right. And provide a good example for my kids about, how to work through struggles and how to work through relationships and those things that are going to happen. We're all going to have differences and, and so that's been a focus for me. Like if I can fix the things that I struggled being good at. Yeah. And if I can work towards those things in my life, maybe I can, help to create a better and more healthy, family situation for my kids. No, and that's what I'm working towards. And it does. It is strange that that the hardest relationships for me are really the most important relationships to me also. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can all relate with that one for sure. But that's beautiful. I think that's so important. And I think we all need that reminder from time to time. Like we need to keep focusing on what matters most.
Right. It is. And what lasts the longest. There's so many distractions of, and there are things like great things to achieve and great things I still want to achieve. Yeah. But that is my greatest achievement. That will be my greatest triumph because of the struggles I've had will be to be able to, create something for my family and create those relationships and strengthen them and, seeing the long-term effects of the daily efforts that we make as a family.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's going to be, I think, a great success for me. That will be I will feel successful.
For sure.
Well,
you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
I think you're doing good things and it's going to continue. I have no doubt. I'm going to ask you a couple questions that again, they're kind of related, but a little bit different. So the first question is this: if there's someone listening to you right now, Linda, that is struggling, they're in a dark place, they don't feel like they belong, and they're not sure what to do, what would you tell that person? You've already shared some good things about that, but what would you tell that one person right now who's hearing your voice?
Yeah, I've been there, and that it's hard to comprehend the potential that we have in those dark moments. Yeah. But there's so much there for you. There's so much potential. There's so much love on the other side of the struggles, and that there's peace, there's hope, and that finding that and being able to just trust that it's there, just keep pushing for that, and know that there's people behind you, there's people that pray for you, there's people that love you. And a lot of times I think when we're in those situations, we have a hard time loving ourselves, and then we have a hard time seeing love. Right. I know I had a hard time seeing love, but if we look for it, it's there. It's there. And so look for that. Okay. Look for the love, look for the hope, and just win the day.
Yeah. Beautifully said. And I'm going to ask you almost the same question, but a little differently, and it might be the same answer. What would you tell someone who's struggling, who's been adopted?
I would tell them that it's okay to struggle, and that that's part of the journey, and that you are okay. Yeah. You are worthy, and your feelings are valid, and that learning about that's a journey of adoption, right, is super healing. And so I would tell them to reach out, to learn about those feelings and those things that they're struggling with, to learn how to overcome those, and to know that it is a beautiful thing at the end of the day. Yeah. It's a beautiful journey, and one that they'll, be able to reach out and lift other people that are struggling with those same things. Right. If they can just, work through some of those emotions and feelings. And I think that was the most pivotal thing for me, was just reaching out and trying to figure out why I felt the way I did. And then just find a higher purpose, find a power that you can really resonate with, that teaches you who you are. And
love it. Yeah, very well said. Yeah. That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that, honestly. I'm not sure if you want people reaching out to you or not, but if they wanted to follow you and maybe ask you a question.
I'm just the most normalist of normal, chicken farming ladies.
If you want to know about chicken farming, ask Linda the questions, right?
I'm a newbie on that front for sure. But
if they wanted to maybe just someone ask you a question or reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Find me on Instagram. Okay. I'm at LindaLuhu77. So that's my Instagram, and
I'll put that in the show notes too, so they can click on it. So.
You bet. Yeah. It. I do feel just like the normal, everyday person with their own journey. But I do feel like we all have something to contribute, and we can all be there for each other. So I hope that will come out of this. If nothing else, I hope that someone somewhere will go, oh man, okay, maybe I understand myself a little bit better now, or maybe I'm not so alone, Yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Linda, for being on my show.
Well, thanks for having me.
It means the world to me.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. No, this was beautiful, honestly.
I love listening to your show, and I love just hearing how everybody is getting through their own personal, struggles. And there's just, to me, it really is just stories of just winning, all of these amazing people accomplishing such great things. And
that's a good way to say it.
It's hard to feel down in the dumps when you see all of these wonderful people that are accomplishing such great things through so much struggle. And really being able to rise above.
Thank you. Well, that means a lot to me, and it is amazing when I get to sit with people like yourself and just sit there and go, wow, man, I learned so much. And it just makes me realize how amazing people are.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. People are good.
People are so good.
People are good.
And if you're struggling, you're not bad. It just means you're human and you're normal and you need to reach out, and we're here for you. Linda's here for you. Reach out to her. If you need anything from me, you always know I'm here for you. And I love you guys more than you know. And keep sharing these episodes. If you have someone who's been adopted, who's struggling, or you know a family member who has, someone who's been adopted and they're struggling, send them a link to this episode. This is the perfect thing they need to hear. Like, absolutely. Yeah. This will help give them hope and feel like they belong and they're not alone. And
they're not.
Linda's right there rooting them on,
for
right?
For sure. Yeah, so, definitely. And I feel that in this room too, that Todd's here cheering all of us on.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, there you go, folks. I told you today was going to be another amazing episode, and it lived up to it. So thank you for tuning in and listening. And again, Linda, thanks for being a bright light in this world that we can all follow. And love your kids.
Oh yeah, they're the best.
I do. And Sabby and Kaz are awesome, and I'm grateful for them and for their influence in my life as well. So,
Same.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Till next time. Love you guys.